Welcome to All Villa, No Filler, a podcast all about Aston Villa. And don't forget to subscribe for more interviews and analysis. This is the Midweek Social, and I'm joined today by Priyanka Jasraj. She's a member of the Villa Bellas and a Her Game 2 ambassador. Priyanka, welcome to All Villa, No Filler.
Thanks for having me, Frankie.
Yep, anytime. So first off, the Villa Bellas, they're a relatively new supporters group. Can you just tell us who they are?
Yeah, so we are a fan club recognised by Villa. We're part of the FCG, the Fan Consultation Group, who was set up by a lovely lady called Sarah. So we are basically the voice of women at Villa. Our aim is to, I guess, stamp out misogyny and sexism in the sport, particularly within Aston Villa Football Club. We want to empower and raise the voices of women, girls, and non-binary people in football, and as I said, in particular, Aston Villa Football Club. So we focus on supporters, players, staff, the local community. And yeah, we're just there to support inclusion and diversity and hopefully work with other diversity groups within the club, which we've been doing a bit lately. So looking to see where we can grow and what more we can do.
Okay, so kind of what inspired you to join the Bellas, and kind of what's like the social side of it like as well? Do you get to meet up with quite a few other fans?
So what inspired me to join was I guess I've been into football the majority of my life, and
right, yeah,
growing up and being in the community that I'm in and being from Northwest London, having no geographical relationship to Birmingham or anything, it wasn't easy. And so I think I kind of had to fight my way through it and prove that I was allowed to be a football fan, which I know sounds ridiculous, but I think for women it's a bit of a battle sometimes. I think there are assumptions made, women watch football because they think the players are good looking, or just not really very justifiable reasons. And I think at the time I actually was made aware of Her Game 2 first. And I'd reached out to one of the lead members at Her Game 2, and through that is when I got connected to Sarah. And so then we had a conversation. So there's three of us. There's like a lead team at Villa Bellas of 5 people. 3 of us are part of Her Game 2 as well. Okay. And so the way we kind of see it working is if you've got Villa on one side, and you've got Her Game 2 on the other side, I guess Villa Bellas are kind of the middleman, essentially, or can even see it as a triangle. So we tried to work with both, and we're doing what we can with Her Game 2, leveraging their partnerships and the work that they've done, and trying to implement that at Villa. As far as the social side of it goes, we haven't done a huge amount yet. I think we're still trying to build up our presence. Very recently, a couple of weeks ago, I went to the West Ham away game and I met up with Danny, who is also a Villa Bella. People may know her as Bedford Lions. But yeah, so we met up, and it was great. And we put out a bit of content that day just as a way of drumming up a bit of attention as Villa Bellas, but also to kind of say, wherever you go, especially if you're a female going to a game alone, whether that be home or away, you've got someone there. You're going to have someone from Villa Bellas that is likely to be at a game, and we want you to be able to come to us and say, we're going to this game. Any of you there? Let's meet up. Let's have a drink. And that's basically what I did all day, and got to meet a bunch of new people and had a great time. So we're looking to improve on that, and we're looking to hopefully do something this summer to try and get like a big social thing together. But it's a work in progress.
Yeah, well, more power to you. And you've mentioned Her Game 2 as well. There might be a few people who aren't too aware of what they are as well. So would you be able to just describe what Her Game 2 is as well?
Yeah, sure. So kind of similar to what I touched on in terms of what Villa Bellas do, but Her Game 2 work across the whole football pyramid. Right from grassroots up, and again, their aim is to stamp out misogyny and sexism in the game. So in working with them, we get to work with the wider football community at all levels, to support the campaign and its aims, and to help support its or deliver its strategy even. But they've got ambassadors or spokespeople for pretty much majority of the football clubs that you could name. I think, don't quote me on this, but I think the first Premier League fixture was Leeds United versus Manchester United last season, where Leeds United players came out wearing Her Game 2 t-shirts.
Okay, yeah.
And I think that kind of set a benchmark. And the aim was, especially around International Women's Day this season, they were trying to get as many fixtures and as much presence and awareness to help support young girls going all the way up and helping supporting women in football. So it's something that we're working on at Villa. It's conversations that we're having at the moment for both a women's game and a men's game. So yeah, hopefully we get somewhere with that and get those fixtures locked in before the end of the season.
Right. And, why do you think it is important that stuff like Her Game 2 and the Villa Bellas exist?
I guess you kind of touched on it yourself. It's very much a man's world, or always has kind of been perceived as a man's world.
Yeah.
And I think women really have to fight for their place in it. From my own experience, I feel like I've had to fight to have my opinions sound valid enough to be considered. And there are too many instances where women will be at games and be mistreated in some way, shape, or form, or even online. The amount of trolling that happens, it's generally because they're a woman. And I think it's really important to ensure that, as a wider community, it's accepted that, men and women can have equal opinions and can have an equal voice. And just because a woman is watching a men's team or a team with male players doesn't mean that they don't have any right to watch it or don't have any right to any opinions. So I think, it's something that's probably been should have been stamped out a long time ago. But I'm glad that there's organizations out there that are finally getting their voices heard.
And, how does it feel to see, Aston Villa kind of been involved with the Villa Bellas, and also, that Aston Villa have finally, it's probably long overdue, set up a women's team in the last few years as well. How does, and particularly the women's team now under Carla Ward seem to be doing so well in the last few months. How does it feel to see all
that? Proud is probably the word I'd use. I think, like I said, it's been a long time coming, but to see the support that we've gotten, and not specifically just for Villa Bellas, but all the diversity fan groups out there, I think it's really important. And there seems to be a lot of support behind the scenes with people in quite senior positions that are willing to help and willing to support us in whichever way they can. So that's been great to see. And I know that a lot of kind of internal decisions that are being made, there have been conversations recently about potential sponsorship rumors for next season. And, Villa Bellas were contacted about the controversy surrounding that. And, it's been received quite well with the conversations that have been had with people internally in terms of ensuring that, they understand where our concerns are coming from. So I think that in itself speaks volumes, because I don't know if that would have happened about 5 years ago.
Right. Okay. And well, it's good to hear that kind of that growth is happening, and it is the greater awareness of it, from not just from fans, but also the club itself as well. I just want to ask you as well. You're a huge Aston Villa fan. So how did that support come about? How did you become an Aston Villa fan?
So it's from my dad.
Right.
My dad long story short, was born in Tanzania, and used to follow English football quite a lot. He used to write to clubs, and I believe Villa and Norwich used to write back. So he was kind of toying between the two, and I'm very glad I don't have to wear yellow and green. But so he used to have like magazines and stuff delivered to his address in Tanzania. He's actually got this whole scrapbook. It's quite incredible, really. Loads of cuttings out and stuff. And on there, it's got his Tanzanian address, and there's like a whole shrine dedicated to Andy Gray. And at the back is like an accounting sheet with all the transfers in and out, how much they went for and how much they were signed for, and that kind of stuff. It's pretty incredible. So when my brother and I were born, it was like, you support Villa, you're out of my house. So it's like, I kind of need somewhere to live. I guess I'm supporting Villa then. And then as of the season before promotion season, we got season tickets then. So when we beat Wolves I think it was 4-0. Was it 4-1 in March?
4-1, I think it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I was on a high. I was at home watching it alone, and I was like, "We're getting promoted. I want to get season tickets." I don't know what came over me. So I said to my
Yeah.
dad and my brother, I don't care about you guys. I'm getting a season ticket whether you want to or not.
Right.
And then we became season ticket holders as of our promotion season.
Yeah.
So yeah, been going ever since, which is a commitment going up from London every
Yeah.
other week.
Yeah.
But it's great fun, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, like as well, we ask on the midweek social that we're on, like, do you have a particular favorite memory at all at this point, Villa? And obviously, you've probably developed quite a few now, getting the season ticket and getting to go down quite a bit.
Yeah. I think the obvious one is probably the championship playoff final. And so
Yeah,
I'm probably going to sound pretty cliche saying
the
it, but
flag's
it
there.
genuinely,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
I have mine upstairs somewhere.
yeah,
But it has to be up there. I mean, the
yeah,
sheer high from that day it was unbelievable.
yeah.
I literally said to my family, I was like, I don't need anything else in my life now. I'm that content from this day. But other than that, maybe the first time I went to Villa Park, which took my dad a good few years to take me. I think I was 9.
Right.
We were playing West Ham at home. It was back in 2002. We won 2-1 then. Probably also my first second city derby. Great memory.
Oh, right.
And there's actually 2 Sheffield United games that I'd probably call out, weirdly enough. The comeback game when we were 3-0 down,
Oh, you're at that.
and
Yeah.
everyone was leaving. And our one rule is we don't leave before the full-time whistle. So very glad I didn't. But also when I was 14, trying to do the maths in my head. Can't even do that maths in my head. So in 2007, we played Sheffield United at home. We won, and I was a pretty big Gareth Barry fan at the time.
Yeah.
Some might say I was slightly obsessed with him. I had
Right.
posters of him on my wall, yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember we'd gone to the shop to just go and check it out, and Liam Ridgewell was pulling out the gates, so we went to get his autograph. And next thing you know, all the players started coming out, so we kept getting loads of autographs, and then we had to leave because we were meeting some family in Leicester for dinner. And the next thing you know, all I hear is Gareth Barry, Gareth Barry. Running back, legged it back and managed to get back in time. And I've got the scarf here, but I got him to sign the scarf. And
Lovely.
I slept with it every day for about a month.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't admit that, but I did.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was also probably one of my top memories.
Oh, that's awesome. I feel like I vaguely remember that game because I went to Sheffield University and I think I was there
Oh, really?
at the time. And I feel like I'm sure I remember watching Villa Sheffield United on TV when I was up there.
I think it was 3-0. I think
Yeah.
1-0.
And I remember I went to Bramall Lane to see Villa play there, and we drew 2-2 in like 2007. And that
Yeah.
was when it was like, as a student, you could get £5 match tickets. So
Oh,
like
nice.
the dream of that now, my God, £5 a ticket to a Premier League game.
Absolutely, I know.
Um,
Especially the cost of living crisis.
yeah, exactly. But you've been following the Villa for quite a long time, and I think it's fair to say there's been a lot of ups and downs, and I think there's been
Yeah.
a long period of downs over the last sort of 12 years, though the promotion season was such an up, and
Yeah.
from then on, it feels like there's been a growth process with 1 or 2 bumps in the road. But how do you think Villa are doing right now under the man I call Professor Unai Emery?
Love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's safe to say things are definitely looking a lot more positive now, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think the way he connects with the fans, particularly in press conferences,
Mm.
it's probably the first time in a very long time that I'm feeling confident in the manager, trusting him, trusting the process, his tactics. I mean, don't get me wrong, obviously promotion season was amazing, and I have a lot of love for Dean Smith, but I think the cracks were pretty much showing. And I think tactically it was probably slightly concerning at points.
Yeah.
Obviously under Emery's predecessor. I think a lot of question marks were raised about a huge chunk of our squad. And I think seeing considerable improvement in a lot of the players in just the space of a few months of him being in charge, bearing in mind that they're practically all players he's inherited himself.
Yeah.
and probably all players that pretty much regressed under Gerrard. I think speaks volumes. I hate to say it, but probably lost a bit of confidence in the likes of Ollie Watkins, whether he was cut out for it. And obviously seeing him the last 7 to 10 games and how Emery's transformed him is incredible. But I think most importantly, like seeing a clear tactical game plan is also nice. I think we've been missing that for a long time. You can really see the kind of stamp that Emery's putting on it. And it just seems like a much nicer feel amongst the squad, even in the content you see on social media and stuff. Everyone seems happy, which is nice to see. You want to see them smiling, right?
Yeah, completely. It's definitely the most kind of elated I think I felt as a Villa fan about a manager and where we seem to be going under. I mean, such a long time. I mean, like, we're probably going all the way back to Martin O'Neill, maybe, but even this feels a bit
exactly.
like, you look at Unai Emery, you think of what he's won, and where he's finished in various league tables with different teams, and think, is this the most high-profile manager I've ever seen at Villa? He's
absolutely
got to be up there.
Yeah.
But like you mentioned, kind of the players that improved. You mentioned Ollie Watkins. Well, who do you think has improved the most under Unai Emery since he came in?
Probably Ollie Watkins.
Yeah.
I think we've still got more to see from Buendia. I've definitely seen improvement, but I think there's more to see. McGinn, I mean, I don't know what has happened over the course of Emery's reign, but I think his adaptability and Emery's tactics have kind of like, particularly since Cameron's been injured, I think it's kind of made it feel as though we're not really missing anyone and made it more comfortable. I think I was quite worried when Cameron got injured. How is McGinn gonna fit in? Obviously, I mean, to be fair to him, he was being played out of position, and it seems like the system just suits him a lot better. We're getting the best out of him. We're getting that Scotland McGinn out of him, which is great to see. But I definitely think he's someone that's improved. I think Tyrone Mings probably lost a lot of confidence under Gerrard. I mean, the way that he was treated, I'm not surprised.
He's got to look me in the eye and that kind of thing. Oh,
yeah. Exactly. I know those kind of comments, and that's what I mean. The way that Emery handles the press and conducts his press conferences and connects to them, the positivity that he uses, it's a very different language to what Gerrard used. And I think there's scaremongering. And then there's instilling positivity, and it's clearly bringing out the best in some of the players that we've got, which I think a lot of people had written off, probably a good number of them.
Yeah, I mean, completely. I mean, we even said on the podcast back in kind of like December, I think I'd said something like, you look at Watkins and Mings and you wonder, like, do they just have flaws in the game that's never going to be ironed out, and have they hit their peak? And yet the improvement this calendar year, with Watkins scoring all them goals, Mings now nominated for Player of the Month, and
I know, and twice in a row, Emery's been nominated for. Twice in a row, we've had players and Unai Emery nominated, haven't we?
Yeah,
which I think says it all. It speaks volumes. Yeah, it's incredible.
It's just unbelievable. Like, every player's just like gone up a level, and it's fascinating to see kind of, this summer where we aim to improve the squad, and if I were to ask you that, this summer with transfers and all that kind of thing, is there any part of the squad you think Villa maybe just need to maybe spend quite a bit of money to improve?
I think we probably do need a bit more depth in defence. We probably do need another centre back. I know obviously Diego Carlos is back, but don't know what's happening with Courtney Horse these days.
I
don't think we have any other cover, do we?
Not really,
in that position. So I think definitely somewhere we need to strengthen. I'd give Ashley Young another year. Can't let him go, and he doesn't seem to be stopping anytime soon. He's an absolute machine. Probably a bit presumptuous, but we haven't seen a lot of John Duran yet, and it'll be interesting to see what happens when Cameron Archer comes back, whether Emery fancies him or not. But we could possibly need another striker. I know there's been calls of bringing Tammy Abraham back, and maybe an all-round midfielder that can play across the midfield. Like a Philip Billing or someone like that.
Well, okay,
Um,
that's an interesting one, Billing. I hadn't really thought about him, but yeah,
yeah, I think. Actually, that being said, don't know how much consistency we can or reliability we can get out of Bailey and Traore either. So,
yeah, I think that's probably where I've got my
mm,
eye, got my eye on that position. I think whether we might spend quite a
get a
lot of money.
winger.
Yeah, although I guess for Villa, it's probably hard to find wingers who are consistent. At the
Yeah,
kind of where we are at the moment is sort of the mid-table level, but you never know
yeah.
where we'll finish this season. I mean, do you think we can get Europe, or do you think it's maybe just a little late in the day to reach that point?
I mean, I'm all for optimism and positivity,
Right,
but
yeah.
I
I know, yeah.
don't think we've got enough games left.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I know we've got the second hardest run in. I think towards the end of the
Yes.
season, I think there's a stat going around that it's the second hardest. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've got faith in Emery and I've got faith in the way we're playing, but yeah, I think it's a lot to ask. Um, Next season though, I definitely think we'll
Mm.
be pushing. Yeah, especially when Emery gets in a few of his own players, and we have more depth in the squad. I think it'll be our time to shine.
Yeah, that's where I sit with it. I think we're definitely building some momentum at the moment. I compared it to sort of where Newcastle were this time last year. You know, a new
Yeah,
manager, the fans getting behind it, some decent
I mean, we're
investment.
lucky he didn't go
Oh,
there.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean,
Glad he turned them down.
yeah, I dread to imagine where Villa would be if he had gone to Newcastle. Like, I just think, God, who would we have got in November instead of the professor?
Pochettino.
Yeah, well, just give him all the money he wants. Yeah.
Yeah.
um. So yeah. So and also, you know, Priyanka, you've been down to as a season ticket holder. You know, the most recent game we had, we're recording this during the international break.
Mhm.
You went to the Bournemouth 3-0.
Yeah.
What did you make of that performance?
Um, so I think it's quite clear what Emery's doing. You know, I think the
Mm,
usage of space, the movement on and off the ball was pretty notable. Players look a lot more comfortable in possession. I think there
yeah.
was always a nervousness around it before. I think the players were nervous, the fans were nervous, not really sure what they were doing. But you can see clear patterns and movement now. And I think particularly the movement that midfielders were making to kind of open up those spaces, dragging out the players, you know, direct passing lanes to
Mm,
the front players rather than moving towards the ball. That was quite clear to see, and you can see in defence as well. You know, they're really slowing down the play. Conson, Mings, and Martinez are taking their time on the ball, drawing those players in. So I think those are probably the most positive things that I could call out from the Bournemouth game, and also actually the last, I guess, 10 to 15 minutes, that consistent pressure that we
mm,
were putting on Bournemouth is something that we haven't seen for ages, and it was quite enjoyable to watch.
yeah.
Um, but I think there were a few concerning moments, like Zielinski was probably getting in from behind the defence a few times.
Mm,
So I think that's something that probably needs working on. I guess we're kind of lucky they didn't finish their chances,
yeah.
but overall, I think we did have a strong hold over the game. That we did have control. The most frustrating part of it, I think, for me is so I sit in the Trinity, and everyone around is so negative. And there's just
Yeah.
constant moans and groans, and you know, it's annoying because apologies, I don't know if you can hear my dog barking by
Oh,
the
yeah.
way.
Okay.
Um, you know, there's constant moans and groans, and it's like, you know, like get the ball up the pitch,
Yeah, yeah,
stop messing about, blah blah
yeah.
blah. And I get it, like, you know, there have been some nervy moments, and it's going to take time to get accustomed to a new style of play.
Mm,
Um, but you need to have patience. I know we shipped quite a few goals back to back in those
yeah,
two
yeah,
4-2 fixtures, but we've come a long way since then. And you know, I think we really need to just not have negativity at Villa
yeah.
Park. And like I said, particularly the people sat around me, you know, it's just have some patience, take your time with it, and actually just like trust what they're doing. And like I said, because they look more comfortable on the ball as well, the players,
Mm,
I think it's easier to have a bit more patience. But yeah, we just need to trust what they're doing and get a better atmosphere going. I think that was seen at the Emirates. It taken a dip. I'd been to the Emirates a few times where the atmosphere was pretty tragic, and the last time I went, it was incredible.
It was so good, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Really surprising how good it was.
Yeah, I don't know if we need to have our own version of the ultras or something going, but yeah, we need to get that positivity. But I think to be fair, it was better at the Bournemouth game, but I don't want to keep hearing someone behind me be like, "Get off the pitch," and then
Yeah.
having his spit on the back of my head is not ideal.
Yeah, I think we must have been sat very close to each other at the Trinity Road stand because I was at the Crystal Palace game before that, and I heard a lot of similar
Yeah,
rhetoric. But I mean, the way I try and look at it is, I just think, I just hope, because I guess this is a new style for our fan base to observe in person, and I just hope they just get used to it quickly, because this is how Villa are going to play now, and it's like all top teams play, isn't it? They keep the ball. It's not, you don't panic, and it basically reminds me of playing football when I was about 8 years old. In Birmingham City Centre, and all the dads lined up on the side, the moms and dads just yelling, "Lump it forward, kick it forward!" You're like, just chill, like it's all good. Professor Unai knows what he's doing. Tara Mings knows what he's doing.
Exactly.
Chance, So hopefully that will change. We'll evolve over time, I guess, and get more used to it. And you're exactly right about the Arsenal stadium. I just can't believe the atmosphere there now. It's amazing.
I know, drastic difference, and it's impressive to see. I actually have a lot of respect for it.
Yeah,
I guess Arteta's done an amazing job, and it's taken time, and they've gotten to a place now where I guess people have things to be excited about and happy about. And similarly with us, we'll get there. It's just a shame that we've got to get to that point probably before we can start being positive about it.
It'll come. That's how it'll come. But we before we wrap up, I just want to ask you, we got Villa have Chelsea next, the London club. How do you feel about that game? Both of them are firmly ensconced in the race for 10th place.
Yeah, I enjoyed our half an hour of being 10th before they decided to get a draw. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know. I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a good game. I don't think it's going to end in a draw. I'm calling a 2-2. But at least we're not going to go into it with the attitude, Chelsea should be coming and wiping the floor with us. It's going to be probably a very different narrative this time around. So
God.
I don't know if we've got any fresh injury concerns. I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
I think Matty Cash is out for
of course he came off for Poland, didn't he?
Yeah.
Ashley Young probably slotting in right back then.
Well, knowing him, he'll do something at Chelsea. Like we'll all, running down for a goal, giving it that. So we did before. So
it'll be good to see Duran get a few more minutes. I know that he's very new to the league and he's very young, and we've got to kind of ease him into it. But I think it'll be good to see him get a few more minutes. Excited for Camera to come back whenever that may be.
Yes.
What a player.
Super player, isn't he?
Free spot signing ever.
It's just like all the, Gerrard did not leave a good legacy of Villa, but if he left Boubacar Kamara, we can give him
one good thing to come out of his reign.
Yeah, pretty much.
Absolutely.
Kamara, he's been fantastic, hasn't he? Kamara, it looks like a real premium midfielder, I think.
And he's still young.
Exactly, yeah. What was he, 23, 22,
yeah,
23?
Something like that. I think he's had one off game, maybe.
Literally,
was it probably that 4-2, that Leicester game, maybe?
Yeah.
Was it? And that's it. But other than that, he's been incredible.
Just everything about him, isn't it? The positioning and not just his tackling, but when he has to push forward, his
awareness is
how on earth did Barcelona or
how did we pick him up for free?
They were just asleep at the wheel or something. But Priyanka, it's been absolutely brilliant to meet you and to chat to you. I've really, really enjoyed this. But for those who will want to follow the Villa Bellas online or follow yourself online as well, where can we find you?
So Villa Bellas is at Villa Bellas on Twitter, and I believe at villa.bellas on Instagram. Or the other way around, but I think it's that way around. And my Twitter is at Pri Jasraj, so PRIJASRAJ. So yeah, check us out. And for women in particular who want to get in touch with Villa Bellas, please like DM us on the Villa Bellas account. We've actually got a form so you can become a member of Villa Bellas, and we're setting up a WhatsApp group, and we're setting up a Facebook page and a newsletter as well. So hopefully we're going to start drumming things up more frequently now. And we've got a few things in the pipeline as well, a couple of events and stuff that we want to put on. So that will be exciting. But yeah, as and when that gets finalized, we'll post it on the socials. So yeah, definitely check us out, get in touch, and especially as a woman, never feel like you're alone because you've got us here too.